Lately, I feel like I've been experiencing so much anger. And to be honest with you guys, I was really judging myself. I literally thought that by me experiencing this huge amount of anger and almost like reliving these emotions that I thought I had to work through that are like surfacing up, that I was spiritually regressing. And if you're anything like me, you've been taught by the spiritual community that healing means becoming softer, calmer, kinder, more zen. But the reality is that when you heal, you become more safe within yourself. And safety, a lot of the times, unlocks the capacity to feel emotions that you were once not able to feel because you were in that survival mode. Also, for those of you guys who are new, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Paula. And for those of you guys who are back and you're the oldies from TikTok, Instagram, welcome back. We're back. I feel like I needed to take a break, to be honest, from social media, from producing. I came back from a long trip and it brought up a lot of emotions. And I feel like I've just been kind of sitting with those emotions. I've also been really outspoken over on my other social media platforms how I feel like I'm going through this huge transformation where I'm not necessarily sure what the next steps of my journey are, which is also what's bringing up a lot of aggression and anger and confusion and all of that. So I realized last night when I was in meditation I should talk about this. Like, it doesn't always need to be like happy go lucky, yay kind of energy. Sometimes these are exactly the most healing and powerful conversations. So, with that being said, thank you so much for being here. Let's go ahead and get started and talk about these things because there's a lot to talk about, bestie. And make sure to grab your popcorn, your tea, in this case, matcha, if you're like me, or your coffee, and let's sit down and chit chat. So, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. And I usually say this a lot to my friends. The issue isn't the anger. More often than not, the issue is actually your inawareness to the anger. So, when you're unaware of anger, then anger has more of that force to control you. Therefore, it controls your actions, controls your mood, it controls everything. With that being said, I've been experiencing a lot of anger recently. And I wasn't 100% sure where this anger was coming from. And that's the thing about healing, you guys, is a lot of the times you experience a lot of emotions and you're not 100% sure where these emotions even come from because it's not like something currently is happening. That's the thing. That's the beauty about triggers. A lot of the times when we feel triggered, it's not even that the same situation's happening in real time. It's that something kind of mimics what happened back in the day and it kind of takes you back, right? That emotion takes you back into that ride where maybe you were abused or maybe there were some boundaries that were crossed in some sort way shape or form and you never got to speak up. So the thing about children and the thing about healing is that we come to this earth as children and we tend to inherit a lot of beliefs, especially in society, right? And even your parents, right? They tell you anger is not good, right? Feeling anger is forbidden. It's like this taboo thing. So we're always encouraged to experience happiness, like lightness, joy, all of these emotions, the positive emotions. But what happens is that the lower, denser emotions tend to get trapped in us as children. We never feel them because let's be honest, children would rather be happy than to be miserable or to be sad or to be angry. It's very rare, right? So when we're adults and we start our spiritual healing journey, our self-love journey, and we unmasks all of these traumas, these limiting beliefs, all of these things, right? Almost like all these masks are falling off, we begin to experience as the safety rises, so does the anger, so does the frustration, so does the sadness or the depression or the beliefs. And we've talked about this before in spirituality. This is called purification. So this is what we call the purple flame of transmutation that's taking place. So in order for you to make room for more positive emotions, for more positive energy to encompass your body, you have to experience the negative energy. And this is where I feel like a lot of people do a really good job on social media and in the spiritual community bypassing anger and just they think that ignoring anger is a way to heal anger, when really anger lets you know where there is love missing, where maybe there was a time where you were taken for granted, where maybe there was a situation that really pissed you off and you never got to speak your piece. I'll say it again, the anger isn't the issue. It's your unawareness to why that anger is coming up in the first place. And this is where I kind of sat with myself last night. I was like, wow, I know I'm on my moon cycle. I know I'm PMSing, but like, I know all these things are happening and I'm so empathic and there's all these changes because this can trigger, right? Change. Sometimes when you feel unsafe, you tend to go into anger, right? That's another different subject, but just stay with me. And I sat with myself and I was like asking myself, okay, I'm experiencing a lot of anger. I don't know 100% where it's coming from. I know there are some things that are very annoying, but I shouldn't be getting this upset. So, where is this coming from? Also, am I regressing spiritually? Am I spiritually progressing or spiritually regressing? Because it feels like every time Mercury comes retrograde, I regress. But then I realize, oh, and I remember studying this, right? In psychology and stuff. It's like when you go through a long period of your life where you go through trauma and you're in this sympathetic mode, you're operating from your sympathetic system, which is your fight or flight, survival, go, 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 rah, 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 rah energy, you shut off a lot of your sentient being, especially if you have like any of the clairvoyancies. Your clairsentient kind of starts shutting off because your mind, your body, your soul is going into this survival mechanistic mode where you need to produce. When you come back home to your body, because a lot of people's souls exist out of their body because of trauma, they kind of jump out of their body. So this is where you get that kind of elusive feeling of like, I'm here, but I'm not really here, but I'm not really in body. I'm not embodying it. So you don't feel anything because you're just producing, you're not thinking, you're executing, you're surviving. And at some point, some of us did have to do that because we literally did have to survive. Our lives literally depended on it. I know I could tell you for a fact, for me, there were times where I literally had to do that. If not, I would have, literally. So when you heal and you come back in body with practices such as meditation, journaling, yoga, or just simple like feeling safe and being in a safe environment, which let's be honest, some of us, some of you guys didn't have a safe environment at some point, maybe your whole life. So now that you're in safety, you're in body, now your parasympathetic system starts to activate, which is your calm response, which is your vagus nerve. And this relaxes your body, and now all the emotions come up. When you come back into your body, boom, all of a sudden it hits you. And I experienced this myself, by the way. But I also experience this a lot with clients and in client sessions. It's like people are fine. Then we come into the sessions, they start experiencing safety. There's this container that's safe. And then boom, all of a sudden they get overwhelmed with anger, resentment, frustration, love, peace, sadness. All of these emotions come in at once. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, it can be intense because when you shut off, it's almost like a switch. You shut your brain off, you shut this energy off, and then all of a sudden you're plugged back in. And if you're an empath, you feel everything 10 times more. So now the anger comes up and you're frustrated and you're trying to investigate, right? Because the sympathetic system is relaxing, the parasympathetic system is relaxing. And all of these emotions are coming up. And you're going, oh my God, am I healing? Am I progressing or am I regressing? Like, what is going on here? And that is normal. I'm here to tell you that that is normal. I caught myself last night, even with the knowledge I already have on this, really judging myself. And what you guys have to understand too is when you are going through this healing journey and you're setting boundaries for yourself and you're healing your inner child, your inner nurturer, you're releasing a lot of beliefs, thoughts, or moments where you wish you would have handled things differently. You're reparenting yourself essentially. There are moments that bring up anger because your mind goes, no, I'm not doing that again. There were times where I wanted to say no and I violated myself and I said yes, or vice versa. And now that I see this situation and it's kind of like similar, I am immediately no. So I do believe, and there's a Buddhist monk that said this a long time ago. I do believe that anger is a great teacher also, because it lets you know where love is missing, where boundaries are violated, and where maybe there was self abandonment. And it's not like it's your fault, but per usual in this channel, we take also accountability of our actions and where we also have co creatively played a role in certain things, because the way to heal is not also to push everything on other people. The abuse wasn't your fault. The pain was not your fault. The hurt was not your fault. And the healing is your responsibility because no one's going to come save you, right? So that's the same thing with anger. It's like you can experience anger. Like the Buddhist monk said, anger lets you know also that something needs change. Something needs change. And I feel like as a society, we're so keen on turning such a blind eye. Well, why are women so angry? Why are this? And I'm like, what do you think that is? There's a lot of things that need to change. So if you want to be a master alchemist, you have to be able to handle both extremes in life. If you don't, and you're predominantly sitting in light energy, you're never going to know how to master its opposite, which is dark energy, dark matter. So alchemists are not afraid of either because they know it exists inside of them and they don't have any control over them. So that's the thing, is like when anger becomes very powerful, it's the same thing as the shadow. Is when you are not aware of it, you don't know your limits, because I think knowing your limits is also important. But I also feel like to a certain extent, it's very healthy to experience frustration. It lets you know you're human. It lets you know that you're feeling that you're in this experience. And you can experience anger and not act out and hurt other people. You can be upset. It's okay if you need to scream into a pillow. I don't feel like we normalize that enough. I feel like we're taught to kind of be like these robotic people, like, oh, love, 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 light, 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 all of this bypassing, when I feel like it's doing its opposite effect. And then when we do experience anger, we kind of have some sort of shame attached to it. When it's okay to say, you know what? I'm experiencing a lot of anger right now. It's coming from the confusion. It's coming from the fear of not knowing what's next. It's also coming from inner child wounds. And I'm angry. And I want to, I don't know, find a way to release this anger, whether it's through working out or through writing a poem or through doing a video or through whatever means necessary that's not hurting other people, myself and other people, is welcome, because that is alchemization, that is transmutation. So it's very interesting when we talk about it, right? Because I feel like nobody has really made this take on anger. And maybe this is precisely why I'm sitting here and talking about anger today. Because if you're anything like me, maybe you are experiencing, I know that right now there's a huge collective shift happening. So there's a lot of unknown emotions. And the human side of us, that animalistic side of us, tends to react differently when push comes to shove, when you're pressed against a wall, when all of these fight or flight emotions are coming up to the surface, or all these beliefs, or all of these things, right? You can really tell a lot about a person by how they handle certain situations that are very high stress. But yeah, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have been experiencing a lot of anger recently. It comes in waves. It's not like I've just been sitting here just being angry. But it's like it's coming waves of something happens, it annoys me, it's teaching me, hey, remember how in the past you said yes when you wanted to say no? Hey, remember when we did this and that, or we had so and so do this? Let's not repeat that again. And it's like automatically the anger comes up. There's also been a lot of anger and frustration when it comes to feeling like I'm not going fast enough in life, or almost like having these thoughts of I should have done things differently, or maybe if I knew then what I know now, would things have been different? So, whatever side of the spectrum you find yourself in, whatever reason this anger is showing up, it really is, and I know you hear this a lot, so just bear with me. It's teaching you something. It's teaching you something, and it's all leading back to love, because at the end of the day, it really is your ally. I think the best way to change is not by bypassing. If a change needs to happen, it's not going to happen by bypassing. It's going to happen by acknowledgement, love, and transmutation, and choosing to move differently. So you can still experience, and that's the whole thing about spirituality, you guys. You can still experience, because you will experience a full spectrum of all of these emotions, and you can still hold your center. You can still say, I am angry, I am experiencing anger, and I am still staying with integrity. I am still staying strong. And I think those are the master alchemists. Master alchemists aren't people that are just always in the light and love field. Master alchemists know the depths of this world. They can see the sky, but they can also dive as deep as the ocean. And the ocean's pretty deep, and so are emotions. And I think when you can hold both extremes, you are a master magician. You're a master alchemist, because now you can really meet people as deep as you've met yourself. And that really is the magic of it all. Everything has its opposite. That's the way the great creator created it. And that's the way that we are taught. Because as above, so below, as within, so without. So thank you guys if you've made it this far throughout the video. I really do appreciate it. Like I said before, these videos are so healing for me. And that's one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel. It's just to talk and have real conversations. I'm not going to lie, something that's been pissing me off also is seeing all the BS going on in the spiritual community. We can talk about that some other time if you guys are interested, but I think right now there's just a lot, and I don't think the world needs more perfection. I think it needs more real, raw, honest conversations and the reality of what it means to be in this meat suit in the flesh, and also be spiritually evolved and be so empathic and so in tune as well. These are the conversations that are going to carry the next generation and also the next earth that's happening as we speak. So if you're experiencing a lot of the anger, I would love to hear in the comments down below if you're experiencing this, also where you may be experiencing this. I know for me, a lot of the frustrations coming from like family, but also I think it's coming from my purpose. And I find myself going back to things that I left behind out of anger. And it's been really healing. And as you know, healing can be happy, but it can also be kind of intense like this. And then there's like a beauty. It's like a never ending cycle. It's like a paradox, right? So I would love to hear in the comments down below how you guys feel and what that's sitting like for you. And of course, per usual, I hope this video helped you in any way, shape, or form. And per usual, make sure to subscribe, to like the video, to drop any recommendations, in the comments down below, to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and obviously on here. And that's it, you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.